If you're one of those who love engaging stories, breathtaking mysteries, and unforgettable characters, you're in the right place. Today, we'll dive into a universe of incredible series where we'll explore 8 absolutely unmissable productions that you need to know. Get ready for intense dramas, supernatural mysteries, emotional animations, and psychological thrillers that will hold your attention from start to finish. So, let's get started. Flower of Evil. A police detective lives what seems to be a perfect family life alongside her husband and daughter, but everything begins to crumble when she discovers disturbing clues about her spouse's true identity. While investigating a murder case with her team, she realizes that all evidence points to the man she loves. Torn between her duty as a police officer and her feelings, she must face a devastating truth about his past. Each revelation brings her closer to a dark secret that could destroy everything she has built. Flower of Evil is a tense psychological thriller that explores the limits of love, trust, and identity. With constant plot twists and intense performances, the series keeps you glued to the screen until the very last second.
사실 나 누가 이장을 죽였는지 알아.
Rulers of Fortune. Rio de Janeiro's criminal underworld has operated for decades through a delicate balance of power between criminal factions. But this balance is about to crumble with the imminent legalization of gambling in Brazil. The change in law attracts the interest of foreign criminal organizations that want a slice of the local market. In the midst of this chaotic scenario, Profeta emerges, a new contender for the crown of Rio's underworld. Profeta begins to rise rapidly in the crime hierarchy, challenging the bosses established for years. His ambition and ruthless methods put at risk the entire power structure built over decades. Old alliances begin to crumble as different factions compete for control of the lucrative gambling market. Betrayals, revenge, and violence explode through the streets of Rio as everyone fights for the throne of organized crime. Rulers of Fortune dives into the brutal world of Brazilian crime, showing without filters the fight for absolute power. With a raw and realistic narrative, the series exposes the corruption, ambition, and violence that dominate Rio's underworld.
Aqui é Rio de Janeiro, Profeta. Esse jogo que você tá querendo entrar, todo mundo aposta alto.
Monster. Dr. Kenzo Tenma is an elite neurosurgeon, engaged to the hospital director's daughter, with a bright future guaranteed. His promising career is about to ascend even further in the hospital hierarchy until one night changes everything. While preparing for surgery, he receives a call from the director ordering him to switch patients. Instead of operating on a poor immigrant worker, he must perform brain surgery on a famous artist. The surgery on the artist is successful and everyone applauds his achievement, but the immigrant worker dies from lack of care. Dr. Tenma enters a deep crisis of conscience when he realizes that his choice cost an innocent life. When a similar situation arises again, he decides to follow his principles and operates on a boy named Johann Liebert. This choice has serious ramifications. He loses his social position, is despised by colleagues, and his engagement is cancelled. However, with the mysterious death of the director and 2 doctors, Dr. Tenma's position is restored. With no evidence to convict him, he is released and eventually attains the position of hospital director. 9 years later, while saving the life of a criminal, his past comes back to haunt him in a terrifying way. He finds himself face to face again with the monster he operated on years ago, Johann Liebert, now a brilliant serial killer. Dr. Tenma embarks on an obsessive quest to capture Johann and make amends for the chaos spread by the man he saved. Monster is a masterful psychological thriller that explores the nature of good and evil through a disturbing narrative. With complex characters and an engaging plot, the series is considered one of the best suspense works ever created. Midnight Mass. A small, isolated community on a remote island lives its days in a peaceful and monotonous way. The quiet routine is interrupted with the arrival of a charismatic and mysterious young priest named Paul. Soon after his arrival, seemingly miraculous events begin to happen across the island. People who have been sick for years begin to recover inexplicably, and residents interpret this as divine blessings. The community's faith is renewed, and residents flock to the church to attend Father Paul's masses. However, at the same time that miracles occur, disturbing signs and frightening omens also emerge. Animals appear brutally dead, and some residents begin to have terrifying experiences during the night. Riley Flynn, a young man who returned to the island after serving time for a tragic accident, begins to suspect everything. He realizes that something deeply wrong is happening behind the facade of faith and religious devotion. As the dark truth is revealed, the community must face their beliefs and the horrors they have awakened. Midnight Mass is a masterpiece of psychological horror that explores themes of faith, fanaticism, guilt, and redemption. With a slow and atmospheric narrative, the series creates a growing sense of terror that culminates in a devastating climax. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. After an epic 10-year journey to defeat the Demon King, the hero's party finally achieves victory. The group consisted of Himmel the hero, Hyder the priest, Eisen the dwarf warrior, and Frieren the elven mage. During the adventure, they created deep bonds through battles and experiences that seemed unforgettable to everyone. However, for Frieren, who has lived for over 1,000 years, that decade represents only an insignificant fraction of her existence. After the victory, she casually bids farewell to her companions and returns to her routine of collecting spells across the continent. Because of her different perception of time, Frieren shows no deep attachment to the experiences lived with the group. But as the years pass and she witnesses the death of her former companions, something inside her begins to change. Frieren finally realizes the true impact that those days alongside the hero's party had on her life. Overcome with regret for having taken their presence for granted, she makes a promise to herself. She decides to dedicate herself to better understanding humans and their emotions, creating true personal connections. Although the story of that memorable journey ended long ago, a new tale is about to begin. Frieren is an emotional masterpiece that explores themes of mortality, memory, human connection, and the true meaning of friendship.
いつか君に見せてあげたい。
Wednesday Addams has always been the black sheep of the eccentric and macabre Addams family. After causing trouble at her previous school, her parents enroll her at Nevermore Academy, an institution for special young people. The school houses students with supernatural abilities from werewolves to seers, each struggling to control their powers. Wednesday must adapt to student life while trying to master her emerging psychic ability to have visions. But her stay at Nevermore is interrupted by a series of mysterious murders that terrorize the region. Determined to solve the case, Wednesday begins her own investigation using her unconventional methods. While searching for the killer, she discovers that the mystery is connected to a dark event from her parents' past. With her sarcastic and morbid personality, Wednesday trusts no one and prefers to work alone. The series combines dark comedy, supernatural mystery, and gothic horror with an iconic and unforgettable protagonist. Wednesday has won millions of fans around the world with its sharp humor and intriguing mysteries.
I hope to return the favor. In her sleep.
Kingdom. During the Joseon dynasty in ancient Korea, strange rumors about the king's health begin to circulate throughout the kingdom. Crown Prince Lee Chang realizes that something sinister is happening behind the scenes of the royal court. Prevented from seeing his sick father, the prince suspects that the queen and her allies are hiding the truth about the king. Determined to discover what really happened, Lee Chang embarks on a journey through the kingdom accompanied by his loyal followers. During his investigations in a remote village, he witnesses something that defies any rational explanation. A mysterious plague is spreading rapidly through the territory, transforming people into creatures thirsty for human flesh. The infected become hungry undead that attack during the night and hide during the day. The prince realizes that this plague is not natural and may be connected to what happened to his father. Facing political conspiracies and a devastating zombie epidemic, Lee Chang becomes the kingdom's only hope. Kingdom combines historical drama, horror, and action in a unique narrative that reinvents the zombie genre. With impeccable production, impressive fight choreography, and a dark atmosphere, the series has won fans worldwide.
환세를 누릴 것이다.
Outlander. During the end of World War II in 1945, Claire Randall works as a combat nurse in England. After the war ends, she and her husband Frank decide to take a second honeymoon in Scotland to reconnect their marriage. During a walk through the Scottish Highlands, Claire visits a mysterious circle of ancient stones. Upon touching one of the stones, she is enveloped by an inexplicable force and loses consciousness. When she finally awakens, Claire immediately realizes that something is terribly wrong with the world around her. She has been mysteriously transported 200 years into the past, arriving in Scotland in 1743. Lost in a time of warrior clans, Jacobite rebellions, and brutal customs, Claire must fight to survive. She soon finds herself torn between two men and two completely different lives in different eras. Outlander combines epic romance, historical drama, and fantasy elements in an addictive and emotional narrative. With stunning scenery and complex characters, the series has become a worldwide phenomenon among historical romance fans.
And this, I promise you, won't come between us.
So these were today's recommendations. 8 absolutely unmissable series for you to watch. I hope you enjoyed the tips and find amazing new series to binge watch. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave that like, which always helps the channel and motivates us to bring content like this to you. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and I hope to see you in the next videos. Bye bye.